Imagine being born into the absolute most powerful, sword-wielding family on the entire planet, only to be labeled a complete failure. This is the Run-Candle clan, a legendary bloodline that dominates half the world through sheer combat, absolute control, and brutal conquest. Every single member is born with a physique built for war and a talent for swordsmanship that borders on godlike. And our main character, he's Jin Run-Candle, the youngest son of this monstrous family. But his story doesn't start with glory. It starts with a deadly secret. For generations, the Run-Candles have ruled with an iron fist. 3 words define their entire existence: combat, conquer, control. If you're a Run-Candle, you either become a swordmaster who crushes your enemies, or you're cast aside like trash. Jin's siblings are absolute prodigies, merciless monsters who live and breathe the blade. Naturally, when Jin reached the age for his selection ceremony, everyone expected him to carry on the family's terrifying legacy. But fate had a very twisted joke in store for him. As it turns out, Jin wasn't weak by choice. His hidden talent for the sword was completely sealed away by a curse. While the Run-Candle family strictly forbids magic, Jin discovers something game-changing. He has an extraordinary, once-in-a-generation talent for magic. But with a curse strangling his potential and his family watching his every move, his first life ended in absolute tragedy and defeat. He died powerless, mocked by his brothers, and abandoned by his own father. But the story doesn't end there. Given a second chance at life, Jin wakes up back in the past, right before the selection ceremony that ruined his life. With his memories intact, his curse understood, and dual-wielding the power of magic and the sword, Jin is ready to rewrite history. This time, the youngest son isn't just going to survive. He's going to conquer the entire Run-Candle family. Armed with every piece of knowledge from his past failure, Jin isn't going to let history repeat itself. The moment he steps up to the selection ceremony this time, he already knows what everyone expects of him. His father thought Jin would just be another tragic disappointment. But Jin reaching for the Founder's blade isn't just luck. It's a declaration of war against his own bloodline. The Run-Candles created a world where only the absolute strongest survive. But they made one massive mistake. They pushed the youngest son to the brink of death, only for him to come back stronger, smarter, and ready to take everything for himself. Jin Run-Candle is no longer the family outcast. He's coming for the throne. Despite choosing the Founder's golden sword, the Barisada, at his selection ceremony, Jin's actual martial skills were completely non-existent. Because of his sealed potential, no matter how hard he trained, he couldn't handle a blade. And in the Run-Candle family, weakness is an unforgivable sin. His older brothers constantly cornered and mocked him, sneering at his pathetic attempts to train. Swinging that useless wooden sword again? They'd laugh. Where's that special sword you picked? How can someone from our family be so ridiculously bad? He became the ultimate laughingstock. Labeled as the family disgrace, Jin was forced to swallow his pride every single day, keeping his head down while his own bloodline treated him worse than trash. They thought he was just a broken dunce, destined to die in obscurity. But every insult, every laugh, and every moment of humiliation was quietly building a fire inside him. One that would burn the entire Run-Candle legacy to the ground when he got his second chance. Insults quickly turned into outright violence. When Jin tried to ignore them, his brothers didn't just walk away. They struck him down. Your almighty brothers are asking you a question. To them, Jin wasn't just weak. He was a toy for their amusement. Even as he lay groaning on the floor, Jin crawled back toward his sword. But they kicked it away before he could even touch it. Why do you even bother swinging that thing? It's useless anyway. They stripped him of every shred of dignity. When they found his handwritten notes, pages of basic swordsmanship theory he meticulously studied to make up for his lack of talent, they only laughed louder. Ha ha! What's this? Basic swordsmanship theory? In a family that measured worth purely by destructive power, trying to study your way to strength was seen as the ultimate joke. Hey, do you really think you'd get good at swords just by reading about some swordsmanship theory? This is why guys who are useless should never be given any chances. With a single flex of his strength, he shattered Jin's training sword and shredded his hard work into lifeless scraps on the floor. Jin clung to a single, naive belief. If I just work hard, eventually, I'll receive recognition from my family. But reality crushed that hope into dust. For the first time, Jin spoke back. But defiance came at a steep cost. What did you say? You keep talking back. Bound by physical weakness and the ruthless law of the Runkandel clan, Jin could do nothing as his brothers pinned him down, treating him like nothing more than an insect. We're all doing this for your sake. Why do you keep talking back? His brother's twisted logic masked sheer malice under the guise of family discipline. The moment his nanny Gilly was mentioned, Jin couldn't hold back. Gilly has got nothing to do with this, he shouted, trying desperately to protect the only person who cared for him. His devotion meant nothing to the clan. The cold, unyielding decree echoed through the grand halls, shattering his naive dream forever. Jin Runkandel, from this moment on, you are banished from the family. Exiled. Cast out like trash. As he stood outside those massive gates, a bitter memory surfaced. The mocking words of his brother echoing in his mind. Since your efforts are commendable, we won't kill you. Their so-called mercy was nothing more than a sentence to slow oblivion. Stripped of his name, his home, and his pride, Jin was left wandering aimlessly into the bitter cold, discarded by the family he had tried so desperately to belong to. Cast out with nowhere to go, Jin wandered aimlessly. That was around the time he met her, the woman who would become his master. And that's when he finally realized the truth. 3 years after that fateful meeting. Connect the mana that exists in nature with your own, and draw it in to restore your reserve. Next, strengthen and shape the mana you intend to manifest. He didn't just have talent, he was a prodigy. Jin possessed a natural, immense gift for magic, the single power strictly forbidden within the Runkandel family.